Hey Scout Leaders, Mark here, Big Man of the Woods, and in this vlog, it's a bit of a reflective one because this year I celebrate 15 years, I can't believe it, 15 years of volunteering as a Scout Leader in the same group. And it got me thinking, over this 15 years, how many hundreds of Scouts have I looked after that have been in my troop? 15 years, that's a lot of tea being drunk around the campfire, muddy tents, s'mores, spag bowls. Those important memories. But what are we there for as a Scout Leader? Well, it's to give skills for life for the young people. Whether you're in squirrels, beavers, cubs, scouts, explorers, we're passing on those skills, whether it is not firelighting, first aid. Now we're learning about the internet. We're learning about community, cooking, map reading. Being a fisherman, there's so many different badges that shape who a young person is. I remember being in the St. John's Ambulance. I wasn't a scout, and I learned a whole lot of skills that I use in my everyday life. Okay, granted, St. John's Ambulance was a lot about first aid, and I do healthcare. I'm in operating theatre. So those skills that I learned in badges and cadets, I still use today. I still remember Dorothy teaching us how to fold the sheets in on a bed. And guess what? That's what I do today in the operating theatre. When someone comes down for a hip replacement, I still have flashbacks of Dorothy teaching us in badges how to get those sheets on the bed nice and crisp. And to this very day, I still use those skills. And that's what we're doing for Scouts. I have so many fond memories of Scouts that I've looked after over those 15 years, whether that's at camp, hikes, playing in the park, and in those weekly meetings. So many funny memories and some weird memories, but we won't go there. But every now and then I think, where are they now? Where are they? What are they up to? And okay, some of them are still living where I live now and I bump into them, but what happens to those mystery Scouts? I don't know. It's one of those life's mysteries. But I am very lucky enough to stay in touch with some of those Scouts that have moved on to university. They're now adults and they've come back. We're chatting on social media. We've actually met up for some coffee locally just to see what they've been up to. And I'm going to talk about those Scouts today. And yes, I've got their permission to be in this vlog. So flying back 15 years ago, I was a non-Scouter. I didn't know anything about Scouts. And I came across this Scout called Nima. Just a regular Scout. Didn't really stand out. Just a nice young lad. Did his Scouts, stayed to be young leader, and then went off to uni. We stayed in touch because he was local and he had a massive interest in the world of medicine. He wanted to be a doctor. He stayed in touch with me and asked me if I could get him some work experience in the hospital where I worked at. And yeah, I got some work experience. And lo and behold, now it's not Nima. It's now Dr. Nima. And we've been chatting. It's quite funny now because I was teaching him some medical terms in Scouts, and now he fully understands what they really mean, you know. And he's like, Mark, that makes sense now. That makes sense. This makes sense, what you're teaching me. And now he's going to be training to be a radiologist. And we talk every now and then, have a catch up going, how cool would it be if we both were together in the same operating list? And that is very possible. That could be, and that would be cool. So I'm really super proud that Nima done something with his life and is now training to be a fully fledged doctor radiologist. And then there's Jake. Jake was really cool. I really had fun with Jake at camp. He was just always that Scout who would help me, be the first to jump up and do the washing up, put the tents, do whatever you wanted. He was just a really helpful Scout. And he didn't shine out or anything, you know, there was nothing special about him. He's just a very polite, comes from a very lovely family, may I say. He kind of went off on his way. He didn't stay to be a young leader. He had a massive interest in rugby. That was it, rugby. He went on to do stuff with rugby. On to university, and we didn't stay in touch. Okay, went away. His brother was still in the Scouts, so I kind of knew what Jake was up to, but I didn't see him. Then, just a few months after COVID happened and lockdown and all that kind of thing, I get an email from Jake asking if he could hook back up. He's back in London and he'd love to meet up for a coffee and just have a catch up. Why not? Met up with Jake over a coffee. He's telling me now he is working, can't believe this, as a designer, as an engineer for space rockets. He is part of the team that designs rockets that go up there in space. Just amazing. Okay, that's nothing to do with me. I didn't help him. Okay, we may have done those rocket balloons, you know, with a 2-liter pop bottle and you fire it out up in the park. It goes a couple of feet in the air. Maybe we did that. I don't know. but I can't take any credit for Jake now being an engineer of space rockets. That is awesome. Well done, Jake. Another scout actually who said, Mark, don't mention my name, but you can mention my story. So I will. He was an awesome scout, really lovely scout, really funny scout, wanted to entertain, just wanted to be the center of attention, not in a bad way. You know, he was the first up around the campfire, singing songs, dancing, being silly, was just a really fun scout to have. As he went off to uni, I didn't stay in touch with him, just went his separate ways. Then he got in contact with me via Instagram and just sent me a whole other stuff of what he's doing. He is now so lucky. He is now working as a travel writer. He goes around the world, different countries, writing blogs, writing articles for magazines, for newspapers, those kind of how-to guides. You know, when you go to a city, these are the top places to visit. That's what he's doing. And he kind of said that it was a little bit of inspiration from me, because every now and then people ask me, Mark, how did you become who you are? How did you know that you wanted to work in operating theatre? Those scouts question me all the time. And I was speaking to this young scout about what are your passions, because he didn't know where he was going in life. He just had no guidance. There was nothing. So we sat around the campfire one day just chatting. What do you really enjoy? What is in your heart? What do you think about? What do you really admire? What do you really love doing? What brings you joy? He wasn't sporty, so he wasn't going to go down the sports route. He wasn't like Nima. He wasn't going to be a doctor. He just didn't have any idea of what he wanted to do, apart from one thing, which I just tapped into. He loved writing. He used to write stories and just stuff. But he was very lucky that he used to go holidays quite often, different countries. I think his mom was Italian, or was his dad Italian? I can't remember which way it was, but they used to go to Italy a lot and do lots of holidays. And he used to say, just write, you know, memories of those holidays. Write down as if you were writing for a newspaper. And lo and behold, he told me he got work experience for National Geographic, the magazine. And then that was it. It was a foot in the door. And then he knew that that's where he wanted to be. Wanted to be a travel writer. And you know what? That's what he's doing now. Well done. So there's some scouts that really stand out that you know is going to go far. They're going to go and crack whatever they want to do. Okay, every scout wants to be a football player. That's not going to happen. But you know, you just know those scouts are going to do really well in life. Then there's those three girls, okay? A few years ago, I had to change my scout night from a Thursday to a Monday. It was for a whole load of different reasons, for my work, and the other leaders couldn't commit. You don't need to know that bit. But unfortunately, these three girls, who were amazing, they were really great with me. They would help out. They would be the first to do this. They were the first to do that. They used to not beat up the boys, but, you know, they put the boys in their position. You know, if they're being too rowdy and they wouldn't listen to me, bam, the girls are in there, told them shut up. They controlled it. Those boys were really scared of these three girls. It was brilliant. And I used to use them to my advantage, you know, just amazing. When the scouts wouldn't listen, send in the girls. You know those girls, you know, they were brilliant. But unfortunately, when I moved my Thursday scouts to Monday, they couldn't continue the scouting journey because they had a massive passion and love for ballet. And I knew that. They used to tell me all the time, to show me their certificates. It was so nice. But unfortunately, their passion was more ballet than scouting. And they went off and done some ballet and whatever. And I often wonder, did any of those three pursue a career in ballet? Maybe they work for the Royal Ballet House, the operas, traveling the world, you know? But I don't know. And it's a real shame, because I'd love to know if one of them, or maybe all three of them, took a career in ballet and now world famous dancers. Maybe not just in ballet, but, you know, doing anything, you know, backing dancers, or, you know, they're on concert. Maybe they're at, I think Beyonce is at Wembley at the moment. Maybe they're her backing dancers. Robbie Williams was at Emirates Stadium just last night when I'm recording it. Maybe they're his ballet dancers or his backing dancers, you know? That would be super cool. And over these 15 years of being a scout leader, it's made me realize it's just not we're part of their weekly meeting. They don't just rock up scouts and just kind of go, oh, hi. We're part of their bigger picture. We're part of their life map. You know, that pathway through our life. People come, people go. Adults influence us. Adults teach us things. And as scout leaders, that's what we're doing to these young people. We're planting seeds that we may never see grow. That's the truth. Think of it as a little oak sapling, planting it, and it grows and grows. And then we move away. We move house, we move country, and we never see that sapling turn from a little sapling into a mighty oak tree 200 years later. That's what we're doing with these young people. And the truth is, they probably don't remember half of the things we taught them as a scout. But that doesn't matter, does it? But they will remember this one thing, that someone believed in them, someone trusted them, someone gave them the opportunity. And that someone is you, their scout leader. So fellow scout leaders, maybe you're just starting out your journey as a scout leader. Maybe you've 15 years like me, maybe you're 50 years as a scout leader. Just remember this, you're shaping the future of those young people, and you're never gonna know what they turn out to be, but you've had a massive influence in what they're gonna do. So do you have a where are they now moment? Do you know what those scouts are up to? Those futures, those past scouts that you've looked after 10, 15, 20 years ago? Maybe they are massive. Maybe they're really famous. Maybe you were the scout leader that got George Michael onto the stage in the Scout Hall. Do you remember that one? And look where he was now, global singer. All these football players, the astronauts, the Queen, she was a Girl Guide. So many scouts have done amazing things with their life. Okay, they might not be famous, but look at my scouts. The doctor, the rocket engineer, the traveler, maybe a potential ballet dancer. Scout leaders, keep planting those seeds. You never know what that seed is going to grow into.